Market shifting, low inventory, high interest rates in this real estate industry. The Feds now have holded the pattern of raising interest rates, but where are you at today in your real estate business? Welcome to the episode of Real Estate First Technology. Your host, Norman Kinsey. Today, we have the very special guest, someone who is with the iconic Wolfpack, Mike Sherrard, the whole gang over there. He's top 3% with that. Also has a podcast, crushing on social media. Definitely feel like his mindset is tuned to a frequency for success. And I love how right before I got him on the show, before we started airing here on the show, I asked him specifically, is there anything specific you want to talk about? Anything you want to go over? He's like, I'm just curious about the questions you're going to ask me and more importantly, showing up authentically. So I absolutely love that. We have Koby on the show, Real Estate First Technology. Welcome to the show, brother. Excited to have you on.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. I really appreciate you having me on here. I know you guys got a really good podcast going on
Oh, man.
always love being a guest and sharing anything I can. So.
Right. At the end of the day, I feel like podcasts have really shifted. I feel like a lot of individuals' businesses, right? I think now more than ever, I know that people writing books and reading books, and then you have Audible and you can listen to books. And now with podcasts, it's like you can hear from and learn from someone like yourself that maybe doesn't have a book written yet, but you could then share knowledge, get information out there to people that need to hear it. And people that want to relate to someone like yourself, right? Someone that's going through or is going to go through some of the same things that you've already gone through in your life, Koby. So I'm really excited to have you on it and to deep dive more into that.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I have my own podcast as well. And I think it's not only just a great insight into, knowing who each individual person is, because you get to kind of sit down and, just just a one-on-one conversation with them and get other people to have a sneak peek into it. But it's
Yeah.
also a great way to just, create a bunch of content,
Yes.
and put it in different places, which is what I do. So
I love that. I love that. So tell us a little bit of like your story, but more importantly, the success part of your story. So like when people are listening to the show right now and they're, maybe struggling or they want to have more success, so they're trying to figure out how to dial things in so they can get to that next level. Let's talk about some of the things that you've dialed in with your specific business in order to earn a 3% growth, rate within EXP, within the Wolfpack, and now being a leader with that and starting this podcast. So let's talk a little bit about that. So how long have you been in the business so far, and how did you get to the point where you're at now to earn some of the accolades that you have?
yeah, sure, absolutely. So I kind of came from a more unique background as far as being in real estate. So I'm currently 22 years old as of this recording.
I love
Got
it.
my license about 3 or so years ago. So I got my license when I was 18 years old.
Wow.
My real estate license, that is. And
Yeah.
the reason why I did that was because I actually I never really wanted to be like an agent, if you will. I just read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad about a
Great
couple
book.
months after graduating high school, and I was obsessed with this idea of having passive income. So that's why I got my real estate license, so that I could be in proximity with like other real estate investors and
Yeah.
people who are having success, kind of building wealth and passive income, right? And I thought that
I
was
love
kind of
that.
like a it made sense for me to do that, right? So I could be in proximity with people, and that's how I got connected with EXP and this entire group here, because there's a lot of investors that within our circle, in our group,
Yeah.
that they actually came from investor background. So I was really drawn towards
Mhm.
that. And, kind of how I got started with, kind of what I'm doing now, which is growing and building an organization at EXP with the Wolfpack. And it was really just, I saw it as a different perspective as far as being able to build passive residual income within the industry without having to, go through the traditional route, which is getting financing, taking all of the risk, time, stress
Yes.
of buying and holding rental properties, which, I tried to get a loan back when I was 18. It's like that wasn't that wasn't something that I was able to
No.
do. So this is another way for me to do that and build residual income without having to take on all of the financing and the debt and all the capital expenditures and everything, all the good stuff, if you will. So
Yeah.
that's how I got started doing that. And as far as my
Wow.
success and it's just really being around great people, like you mentioned. We have a really good group here. I work pretty closely with a gentleman named Connor Steinbrook, who is the
Okay.
founder of the Wolfpack organization.
I love it.
Really great mentor for me, and I kind of saw what he was able to do with building an organization within EXP, and I just kind of took after that and learned a lot about personal development, self-development, which is something that I didn't do before I got into real estate. I was actually quite the opposite, if you will. But once I started going down that path, I think that's really what made the change for me. It was just, more of changing your mindset, changing, how you feel about yourself, if you will. And
Yes.
that was what was the big change for me, and kind of skyrocketed from there.
Wow. I love that. So what, now 3 years in, you're about 3 years. One thing I have to say that is very interesting to me, and I want to say the stat, if I remember it correctly, was 87% of real estate professionals don't have passive income. And I think that's a huge thing to think about for whoever's listening right now or watching on YouTube, and thinking to themselves, it's like, with the downturn and the swings of the market, interest rates, things are going to shift. Nothing's going to stay exactly the same. The fact that you already had the mindset of passively wanting to have income is great, because you won't feel much of that kind of swing of the market. So it doesn't matter if it's high inventory, low inventory. Yes, transactionally wise, you might not have as many transactions, but as far as passive residual income, if that's paying for your lifestyle, and all of your bills, then you would be and should be fine. So you were getting into, so were you doing like fix and flip, or were you trying to just do wholesale deals, and then just get contracts signed and sign those over to investors, so you potentially could start getting some cash flow going before you got your real estate license? How did that work for you?
Right. So I was just doing a lot of like research into what this whole investing thing was, and all of these things
Yeah.
were coming up, like flipping and wholesaling. And I didn't really gravitate towards any of them, because it was, they weren't passive residual income streams. If you're flipping a house, you flip a
Yeah.
house, you can
It's,
make, 10, 50, 20, whatever, how much money, you're making there, but that's it, right?
yeah,
You have
it's
to go
quick
to the
cash.
next one. And just like you were saying, as an agent, right? You're not taking on as many risks with the transaction, but it's the same thing. You close a deal and then you have to close another one, and so on and so forth. You can make $1 million a year as an agent, but the following year you have to start from zero. Right.
Yes.
So I didn't gravitate really towards any of that. Now, when I first started, I did work as more of an inside sales agent, as a just cold calling homeowners, just to kind of learn how how real estate worked. And that was already when I had my license. So I had kind of I would say, a little bit more credibility there as I was talking to people. And I learned a lot of,
Yeah.
just understanding communication, and understanding how, it's not really about you. It's more about how you can help somebody else and what their
Yep.
problem is. So that's kind of the approach that I take now as I talk to other agents, is not so much about, how great I am or how great of all the things that we do, but more so of, you know, what is your problem? What is it that, you're looking for with us, and how can we come in and support you in what you're doing? So that's some of the things that I learned in the beginning. But yeah, I did have a little bit of experience in the first couple of months that I got my license, kind of doing a little bit of that. So
I love that. One thing that came up for me, which is kind of interesting, is the personal development side, and your mentor within the Wolfpack. And I love how that wasn't something that came up for you, but it's something that you've really gravitated to. And I think that at the end of the day, the people that are the most successful people in any industry, in any light, is people that are focused, deliberate, and they know what they want. The more that you know what you want, and you have whatever goals, call them what you will, but aspirations, goals, and you know what you want to do, where you want to go, the more you're gonna have success. And at the end of the day, it sounds like what you're doing a really good job of is just solving problems. You're seeing what's going on, you're solving those problems, and you're coming up with solutions. So now you're 3 years in, you now have gravitated to the education portion, made the phone calls, got your license. Now you're licensed, and now you're top 3%, growth within the Wolfpack, which is amazing. EXP, that's awesome. So where are you at now? Is it more traditional transaction sides? Have you already secured your first property and now start to see some passive income as far as what you gravitated to?
yeah, actually, quite the I would say quite the opposite of that, as far as traditionally goes for agents. So I have my real estate license, but 3 years into the industry, I'm considered quote unquote successful, at least by my peers, if you will. But never done a single transaction with my license, or without my license for that matter.
Wow.
Um, because this is not, that's not really what I'm looking to do, right? I never wanted
Yeah.
to be an agent in the beginning. I kind of thought that, maybe if I was a good agent, that wasn't something that I would, necessarily turn down.
Yeah.
But as I started to bring in agents to my organization through the EXP model, it just became a lot more, I'll say a lot more fun, first and foremost, but also a lot
Wow.
more rewarding, because I get to now build what's the equivalent to a rental portfolio first, without having to take on debt, without having to take on financing, simply because every time I refer an agent to join the company and I help them close a transaction, every time they close a deal, I get paid on that transaction because of the way
Amazing.
the platform is designed. So right now, I'm currently at, have over 60 agents spanned out across 20 different states and even actually 2 different countries because we are a global company, a global organization.
Congratulations. That's
And
huge. Let's
yeah,
go.
thank you. And
Of course.
still to this day, have not closed a single transaction. So I think that's what the unique thing about this platform, this model is for me is, and I'm not the only person that's done this, right? I've seen other people do this before, so way more successful than me. Even they have thousands of agents, but they've come in to EXP, the brokerage, and they were able to build this huge organization of agents equivalent to multiple brokerages if you think about
Yeah.
the amount of agents they have. And they had no real estate experience. These are people who got
Wow.
their license. They came from multiple different backgrounds. Some people were, just maybe in a network marketing industry. Maybe there was somebody who came in as a little kids little league soccer coach, right? And they have
Yeah.
thousands of agents. And I've seen these people come in and do that. And now I've came in as a high school graduate, really a college dropout if you think about it.
Yeah.
And I have over 60 agents now. So I would say don't limit yourself, right? If you're listening to this, there's so many different opportunities, different things you can do. I've done it and I continue to do it. And I'm really, really excited about the future if you really think about it too. So,
Dude, first off, congratulations. And I think for anyone who's viewing and listening right now, it's crazy how the episode has taken a turn. It started off with like, all right, education, college guy, get his real estate license. You're thinking, and I was thinking, right? And like, speaking of being true, authentic, and letting things flow the way that it is, we have questions, but at the end of the day, we like to let it flow. And it's crazy how this just flowed out as far as like, okay, it's one thing to, start getting into, like you said, there's not a lot of money there, but you could do buy and hold, fix and flip. That's all things. Buy and hold, you can't make money monthly, but as far as fix and flip or writing over deals, doing wholesaling, it is what it is. As far as transactioning on the buy side, sell side, traditional transactions as a real estate agent, it's always the next deal. Go from $1 million to zero. Now with the EXP model, and there's other companies out there too that have similar models, you could actually build a downline. And with that downline, you can start seeing passive residual income coming in. And the fact that you have your license, you've done your studies, you've done 0 deals, but you've still attracted 60 agents to be underneath your downline, to listen to you, to understand, and to learn from you because of the Wolfpack, probably because of your mentors and because of the self-development and because you give them something outside of like, hey, if you look at like, we'll say a Mike Sherrard, someone that I'm pretty familiar with as far as he was the top performing real estate professional, used to be an engineer, then got his real estate license. And then, he uses those accolades as far as this is the success that I've had. If I could do it, you could do it for you. You take a different approach. And I want to deep dive a little bit more into that. So anyone who's thinking about maybe taking the same type of path that you're taking, right? They want to get the real estate license. Like, I'll be honest, I don't have my real estate license. We have probably 130 plus agents in about 15 states ourselves. We'll have 212 agents on the Liftoff agent side that sponsors this podcast. We've interviewed over 300 people on the podcast as well. Very grateful to even say that. And, I'm not licensed at all, but still give value, add value, right? To help agents get out of their own way, set goals, get on video, passively prospect. We work with a lot of various influencers in that space. How do you do it, man? How do you attract, add value, and never transact it yourself?
right. That's a great question. And that was something that I struggled a lot with in the beginning as I was really exploring this model
I
and
can
this
imagine.
opportunity to attract agents, right? I was like, how
Yeah.
am I ever, going to bring anybody over and who's going to listen to me?
Mm-hmm.
But it was really down to as I started to talk to people,
Okay.
nobody was really able to articulate, if you will, the value of what a sponsor does at EXP, right? Because
Ah.
it's a new kind of deal, right? With these new
Yeah.
models coming out, they understand that the brokerage does what the brokerage does, and the broker
Yep.
helps in the way they do locally with contracts and everything. But they're like, well, what does a sponsor do? I have to, choose this sponsor. I don't know what you guys, what do I get from choosing a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
So I started digging deeper into, what exactly does a sponsor do, right? And then from the company's perspective, there's not much as far as a requirement goes. It's who introduced you to the company, right? But now, as far as the noise and just all of the information that's out there, people know about the company and they don't know it from a single individual, right? They
Yeah.
know it from multiple different people, different sources. They're
Mhm.
actually looking for additional value from the sponsor. And it doesn't necessarily have to be related to transacting real estate, right? It could be
Yeah,
something
yeah.
different. It could be, how do I build my own downline, right? Because they want to take advantage of this opportunity, right? Or how do I, build a YouTube channel or a SEO highly ranking blog, right? Which is something that I did in the beginning to attract a lot of
I
attention.
love that.
I continue to do. So that's what I figured was, hey, nobody else is able to tell people what the value of a sponsor is. We have all of these resources within our group that we can then share. So why not just leverage that? And I did that for year and a half. And then as I started
Wow.
getting more agents, started getting more experience, started teaching them the different things that I was doing with my blog, with my podcast and everything as well. And now I'm starting at a point to create my own value as well that I can only offer to people. And, it's something that's unique to me. And so, yeah, so
Wow.
it comes down to how you can help people, right? You don't want to limit yourself as far as your experience or lack thereof, in my case, of how how you can't help people. You always want to think about what is it that make you special and unique, and, really thinking about maybe some of even your weaknesses and how you can turn that into like your value proposition, right? Because I tell
Yeah.
agents all the time, how can I help you even though I've never sold real estate? Well, you come over here to this model. I'm sure you want to take advantage of the opportunity to build your downline as well. I was able to do it, build out to 60 agents now, and I don't have any transactions under my belt. So if I can do it, imagine how much of this I can teach you, right? And now
Yes.
now I turn my weakness in the beginning now into a value proposition. So I would think encourage people to think creatively. That's kind of what I did. But yeah, that's kind of a packed little information set in
Dude,
there for some of the things that I do.
I love that. Well, I think at the end of the day, confidence comes from knowledge of whatever it is that you understand, whether it's, you know, doing your SEO blog or doing social content or having a YouTube channel. At the end of the day, because you're with the Wolfpack and there's thousands of opportunities to learn from a mentor or a coach that can help you on the transaction side. So I can see where you can say, hey, this is where I'm at. I'll be your sponsor. I'll help with this side. And then you'll have this help on this side from these various different individuals within the Wolfpack. And we're all here to grow together, because it's not like you don't see every single week money motivation, all the different things that are going on within the community of the Wolfpack just in general. So I got to say, like, kudos to you, man, because I know one thing could be ageism, because people say, oh, because you're young or whatever else, you don't whatever know this or whatever. But I love how you're changing that status quo, being someone who 18 to now 21 years of age, 3 years in the business, grew to a downline of 60 and done the things and overcome the things that would typically hold people up. So whoever's listening and viewing right now, just understand and know that, like, you don't have to be held up by the shortcomings. You can actually propel yourself from the knowledge and the things that you already do know, because we all know something and we all can add value somehow, some way, right? Exactly like what you did, Koby, to really be able to catapult your business to the next level. So I have an interesting question for you as we get closer to ending the show, because I want to be respectful on time. We're going to have to get Koby back on so we can have a longer episode than like around 20 something minutes. If someone wanted to work with you on the buy side or sell side, would you take that client?
No, I wouldn't. Couple of different reasons. One, I probably, now 3, 4 years into the industry, haven't done a deal yet. Probably not the best person to serve,
I love it.
buyer or seller client anyways.
I love it.
But second is because I think everybody should, pick their lane, right? Not to, say, I'm not saying it in that, that
You
way, but
took it
like
out of
pick
my head, dude.
right. Pick your lane, right? So what do you do best? What can you master? And focus all of your time, efforts, resources, and energy into that.
Mm,
And that's how you get the best results, right? So for me,
yeah,
having more time, I would say, than some people, because starting young, I decided to do that, right? And I think, I can make more mistakes, but whatever it is, if I'm focusing my energy in this one lane, 5, 10, 20 years down the line, I'll be the master at it. And, you will be too, if you just put in the time and do that. So I wouldn't do that. I would just simply refer it out to one of the agents that is local to me here, that is in
I
my
love it.
group. And I don't even charge them referral, right? Because I get paid on that transaction. So I don't even, ask for a referral fee. I just give them out to my team. So.
I love that, because you have 60 options, and I'm sure you have some locally as well, which is huge. And I got to say, the one thing that, kind of summing up the episode is stay in your lane. do the things that you gravitate to, that you're passionate about, that you love doing, whether it's blog writing, being on video, social content, meeting buyers and sellers and transacting, doing that traditional transaction. But I got to say that like, you really, and what I'm seeing more and more, and it's crazy to even think about this because just 10 years ago, this wasn't a thing. You've really simplified the process of showing someone that you can get your real estate license, you can join EXP, you can be a part of an amazing, say, downline like the Wolfpack, have an amazing mentor, and then just grow your own downline and not even transact. And I can imagine how much free time you do have because, it's limitless as far as you make your schedule of when you want to meet, when you don't want to meet, what meetings you want to show up to, what meetings you don't want to show up to. And as you sponsor individuals, and you can leverage your past efforts for your future successes by utilizing video content, right? Hence your blog, hence your podcast, right? You get to do more of this. You can just add more value. So, dude, I just had to say, hats off to you. Go check out Koby. Links are down below. Subscribe, notification bell. Go give this man a follow. And in closing, what would you like to leave our viewers and listeners as we close out today's episode?
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having me on the show. I'm super honored to be here, honestly.
Of course,
So
man.
hopefully
This
this
has
is
been
helpful
amazing.
for our viewers and our listeners who are watching this. But just to kind of wrap up, I think, really believe in yourself first and foremost. I think that's the most important part. Work on yourself. But I tell people all the time, you don't want to, you can do everything. You can do anything in life that you want to, but you can't do everything. You don't have that much time. We get one chance at this. So figure out what is it that you really want to do. What is it you want to create in your life? And don't worry about what other people think, because at some point or another, those opinions are not going to matter. So go for what you want to do. Again, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So pick what it is that you want to do, and then go ahead, focus all your energy into it and do it.
Let's go, man. Ladies and gentlemen, go follow Koby. He's crushing it. I'm very grateful to say that we had you on the show. You're absolutely doing things that it's just making the whole process super simple. I can even think to myself who I want to share this episode with, because I know sometimes people like to overcomplicate things, and that's me. I'm an overcomplicator, and it's just like, you don't have to, it's like, keep it simple, stupid. I'm just going to be honest for myself, right? At the end of the day, we're having success. A lot of things are going absolutely amazing. I wouldn't take anything back for the world, because I'm not very simple type of guy anyways. But I got to say, for anyone who's listening out there that wants to just keep it simple, check out Koby. He's the man. Thank you so much for being on today's episode. And thanks to our viewers and listeners, as it, is our intention for them to take things from these episodes, apply to the business, have more massive success. Thanks for waiting to the end, or staying to the end. Thanks, Liftoff, for sponsoring the show. Hit that notification bell and subscribe. New episodes every Friday. And we'll see you guys all on the next one.